Situated on the River Medway on the North Kent coast, the historic Dockyard Chatham was the site of Royal Navy warship construction and development for almost 400 years. Now the museum and visitor attraction welcomes visitors to the most complete dockyard of the Age of Sail. Both international students and students from schools across the southeast visit the dockyard to explore the enormous historic buildings and warships. Set in an impressive 80-acre complex, the dockyard provides a rich, authentic and varied learning environment for immersive experiences. The task that the Dockyard Trust has faced over the last 18 months is to develop a digital offer that would support schools remotely with their curriculum when to visit the site. One ongoing digital project, first launched in 2017, is the 100 Objects That Made Kent website. This was a joint collaboration between 6 museums across Kent and Medway to provide a digital teaching resource for schools. It highlights 100 objects that are significant to the history of Kent, 90 of which are held in the original partner museums, 10 additional objects which were selected from other museums across Kent. The 100 objects can be searched through key stage, period of history, subject, or by their museum's location. Each object web page contains detail of the object, why it is significant, links to the curriculum, and high-definition images that can be used by teachers and young people in schools. The 100 Objects website will be added to in the coming months to include new digital content and direct links to the museum learning web pages. The intention is for this to become a one-stop website portal which links schools with accredited museums across Kent. In 2020, as schools closed and young people began being taught at home, additional digital content was created to become a resource for families who were suddenly having to homeschool. Our Museum from Home offered activities and digital content for families. Families could take part in Arts Award online activities, kitchen science experiments, and explore our digital collection pages. These activities were primarily geared towards Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 pupils. In addition to that, schools could access content from our digital learning resources pages. Units of work were developed on the River Medway, on Second World War air raids linked to our Take Cover learning session, and also a unit of work on VE Day, including photographs and written oral histories from some of our visitors who lived locally in Medway during the war. These units were geared to the Key Stage 2 and Key Stage 3 history curriculum. A specific digital unit of work was developed describing the history of the growth of the dockyard at Chatham and the impact that this had on the growth of the surrounding Medway towns. The unit includes the dockyard's closure in 1984 and the dramatic economic impact this had on the surrounding area, and ends with the regrowth and regeneration of the area in the subsequent 30 years. This unit is linked to both the Key Stage 3 History and the Key Stage 3 Geography programs of study. As visitors began to return to the dockyard in the summer of 2020, several of our collection could not be accessed due to the requirements of social distancing and touchpoints. HMS OCELOT, our Cold War submarine, and HMS Cavalier, our Second World War destroyer, were closed to visitors. We developed a virtual tour that visitors and schools could use that replaced the physical visits and enable the content to reach a much wider audience. The virtual tours allowed the Trust to include photographs, historic video footage, oral histories and interviews to tell the stories of the ships while in service. These virtual tours are still available and now enhance physical visits to the ships. During the second and third lockdowns, the learning team underwent training in the use of Microsoft Teams and Zoom to allow them to engage with classes over these platforms. One of the new online sessions created linked to the exhibition Hidden Heroines, the untold stories of women of the Dockyard. On researching content for the exhibition, the curators uncovered many new stories of women who worked within the Dockyard. The learning team developed an online school session for Key Stage 3 history, showing how the collections team used primary resources to unpick the story of Louisa Good, a dockyard worker in the ropery spinning rooms, who signed a petition against changes to working conditions at the dockyard in 1875. The session described how by using birth, marriage and death certificates from the National Archive, as well as census records from the time, it was possible to look at detail into Louisa's life and what led her to signing the petition. Another example of an online school session came from a request from the business department of a local grammar school. They wanted to use the dockyard as a business model for their sixth form business students. The learning team, along with the head of visitor enterprise and also the director of communications and public engagement, developed an online session which described how the trust responds to different customer needs across the whole dockyard site and how we communicate with the wide variety of customers who use the dockyard. The school used these online sessions as a way for the students to research real-life business for class-based projects. This is an online school session that is now available to other school business departments. The online school sessions are now being developed to complement the visit to the dockyard rather than replace what we can do on site. These can be used as a catalyst to a topic, as a bespoke piece of study, or as a way of consolidating a unit of work. The Trust now has a digital offer for schools that runs alongside the physical visit to the historic Dockyard Chatham.